There is no evidence at this point of a terror connection to this incident. This is preliminary information. It's something we will be investigating very carefully, but there is no evidence at this point of a terror connection. But we do want to be very clear. The early indications, the initial indications, is this was an intentional act.
Mayor Bill de Blasio saying that it was intentional, also pointing out no nexus to terrorism. Obviously, these are the guys of NYPD. They know what they're doing. They're methodical about the information they're putting out. That was the first news conference we heard from the mayor, and obviously we'll hear more as the night goes on.
Yeah, Jean Cazares was our first correspondent on the scene. She's been there throughout the evening. She joins us once again from New York. And Jean, you know, learning now that there is another device. What are you hearing?
Well, we're continually hearing new information, and what we now have gotten is that the police are investigating a suspicious device. Very important word there, device. And it's at 28th Street and 5th Avenue in New York City, which is about 5 blocks away from where I am. And I am right here on 23rd Street, the site of the original explosion. They have not confirmed this was a device. At this point, it was an explosion. But the crime scene's being processed. It's right over my right shoulder. I'm sure it will be processed for a long time, hours to come, because it happened in or around a dumpster. And we do know that 29 victims because of that explosion. 24 of them were taken to the hospital. Wounds from metal and glass, 1 puncture wound. And as you said, some are being released now. But one we heard was in very serious condition, a very serious situation. So we need to see what goes on from there. But it wasn't much longer after this explosion that we heard about at 27th, between 6th and 7th, 27th Street. There was a secondary device that was found. We later learned that that was a pressure cooker, and pictures of that have surfaced. We do know and have confirmed they've taken that pressure cooker to a safe location to investigate that at this point. But now we see, and vehicles are still coming in here. Right now we have this is the fire department. So you see, this is a continual situation right here. Some vehicles leave, others come. But I will tell you that the federal government is here, the state government, and New York City's counterterrorism unit, although Mayor de Blasio has said New York City has not been given a terror threat at all. And there's nothing at this point to say that this is terrorism, but all of the anti-terrorism units are on scene tonight. In New York City, I'm Jean Cazares. Back to you.
Jean, one other question. This is George. When you talk about the apparatus that is in play tonight, I mean, you have investigators with NYPD, you have, counterterrorism officials, as you pointed out. We had on our own Tom Fuentes earlier, and he was trying to square the circle here. I mean, so you have officials saying that this was intentional. You have officials also saying no nexus to terrorism. We understand there was an explosion. We know that there was a second device, this pressure cooker, I should say, that was discovered at 27th Street. And then at 28th, this third device, as you point out. So are you hearing anything more from investigators about what's going on with this?
No, they're just out and about, and they're all here. There's police officers on the corner. I think a lot of people are surprised that a conclusion was made so soon with an investigation that was absolutely unfolding at the time, whether it be a law enforcement investigation, a criminal investigation, a police or fire investigation. Things change, and it is difficult to make conclusions initially, because many are saying that it puts someone in the corner because they've concluded something is as it is, and it may turn out to be exactly the opposite. But at this point, as we said, a third device that is suspicious was found 5 blocks away where I'm standing right here, which is where the initial explosion took place, right behind my right shoulder. George?
Yeah, and Jean, quickly, this is Natalie. Any more warnings to people who live in that area then? I mean, there was a text went out earlier just telling people to stay away from your windows when they had the pressure cooker. But what about New Yorkers who live in that area? We now have several blocks with perhaps dangerous situations.
Especially with this third device.
Exactly. Well, what we heard for this initial explosion is that they searched the buildings by the dumpster. They did not have to ask anyone to evacuate. But Natalie, it was amazing. On your cell phone, we all got these emergency alerts at the same time, and our cell phones are buzzing. The initial alert said if you live in the vicinity of 27th Street between 6th and 7th, stay away from your windows. We just got another alert minutes ago saying that the device that was found has been removed from the area and that it's safe, that they do not have to stay away from their windows at this point. But we are getting these alerts. First time ever in New York City we've gotten these particular types of alerts, but it's very concerning, and I think it shows you the gravity or the alleged gravity of the situation.
Gene, I'm just clarifying, is that for the third device? I'm just clarifying that alert.
The third device we have not gotten an alert for yet.
Okay.
On the third device. They call it suspicious. They call it a device. They call it that they are investigating it. And it is 28th Street and 5th Avenue in New York City.
If you learn more about that, and if it does come through, we'll get back to you, Gene. Thanks so much for all your work the past few hours there, staying at the scene.
Gene, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Natalie and George.
Thank you so much. And again, police have widened the perimeter of that crime scene after finding these multiple suspicious devices.
So yet again, this is a fast evolving investigation. We've had correspondents out covering many angles throughout this night. Now, Richard Quest has been there for every step of it, and he has more now on the developments from his corner there in New York.
It was roughly an hour and a half after the 23rd Street device exploded that we became aware of considerable police and fire department activity 4 blocks further north on 27th Street and 7th Avenue. And it was soon thereafter confirmed that a device had been found on 27th Street. A picture was later released showing a pressure cooker with wires coming out and supposedly attached to a cell phone. But we've never been told what was in that pressure cooker or indeed whether it was a viable device. Shortly after that, we saw a bomb containment unit of the police department arrive, which is a large metal structure which was taken down the road, and we believe that's where the pressure cooker was put into. And subsequently, the suggestion is it has been taken away to be diffused and analysed. As for the scene around 27th Street, well, it was a warm evening, the beginning of fall. The streets were packed, people enjoying the evening, and frankly, nobody can quite understand why these two streets, 23rd and 27th, streets like pretty much any other in New York, certainly not streets of any great significance or importance, why they should be the ones that would have been the targets. Richard Quest, CNN, 27th Street in Manhattan.
And of course, since Richard filed that report within the last hour, we got yet another street now that they're watching, 28th and 5th. A suspicious device has been found. That's new information in the past, like 30 minutes.
Busy moving night here. Let's now bring in Steve Moore via Skype in Los Angeles, the CNN law enforcement contributor and former FBI supervisory special agent. Steve, good to have you with us again this hour. All right, so here's what we know. Again, we know that explosion happened at 23rd Street. We know that a pressure cooker was discovered at 27th, and now there's a focus on this third device at 28th Street. Again, no nexus to terrorism. This is according to the New York mayor. It was intentional, according to authorities. Tom Fuentes pointed out he's having a hard time squaring the circle. So I ask you the same thing. With your expertise, what do you think?
I think that this is going to be terrorism of some type, whether it's international terrorism, whether it's an Islamic terrorist group, or if it's ISIS, we don't know. But this is not some type of criminal activity. This is terrorism. I think that the key to this is going to be finding out why these devices didn't go off, if indeed they were IEDs.
And just to make sure, I want to make very clear with our viewers here in the U.S. and around the world, as you give with your great insight from expertise, you feel that it could be terrorism. Investigators at this point, they are not saying that to be the case yet.
Correct.
But the NYPD investigators, they are on this, and we'll learn more through the night.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that, Steve, because why do you think that the mayor would come out and say that this was an intentional act, but right now we don't have a connection to terrorism? And then since he's made that announcement, there's been another device and another device. Why would you think he would draw that conclusion so early?
Well, if I were the mayor, I would have said the exact same thing, because right now there is no concrete nexus to terrorism. I mean, I'm giving my opinion on here based on all of my experience. The investigators may believe that it will eventually become terrorism, but right now, just the appearance of it is not enough to say that it is connected to terrorism.
I think it's very interesting that you do point out that we have a second device that didn't go off. We don't know about this third device, but apparently something is being investigated, and it did not explode as well.
Steve, let's talk about the actual device, the image that we've seen, and if we can show our viewers this image of the pressure cooker. Again, you see wires associated with the pressure cooker. You see a cell phone attached. Just from what you are looking at there, Steve, what do you make of this and its level of sophistication?
Well, it's not overly sophisticated, but certainly it's going to be effective. All the parts are there to make it happen. If there's a battery in the cell phone, you've got enough juice there to ignite. What's interesting to me is if I heard correctly, the device in New Jersey this morning were 3 pipe bombs where only 1 went off. Bomb, or the IED that went off earlier, that may have gone off low order rather than high order. You can have it detonate, but not detonate efficiently. That may be why people were not killed. And this could lead one to believe that maybe this person was building IEDs the first time and really didn't do a good job of it. And it's possible that these simply were duds. They didn't go off.
And quickly, Steve, this is a hard question to answer quickly, but we're running out of time here.
Sure.
What are the tracks of this investigation? Our reporter, Gene Kazar, still saw another vehicle coming in. Counterterrorism vehicles have been spotted. They now have a video with a suspicious person on it. Give us a little canvas of how New York is going after and investigating this right now.
All the videos on Fifth Avenue, all the way up and down from 20th to 30th. You are going to have so much video out there. You are going to find this person. This is not going to be a long investigation.
Steve Moore, again, we thank you so much, Steve. We know you're an expert at investigating. We'll talk with you again. Thanks.
We'll stay in touch. Thank you, Steve.
On this